Hello friends, it's Kayla. I'm back again. Me and Doreen are gonna solve a mystery. So this is a cozy mystery series set where I live. I read the first 2 books and did videos all about them, and I wasn't planning on continuing, but I said in the last video that if anybody who's read the series knows if it takes place at the lake or not, because I'm always looking for an excuse to have a beach day, to let me know and I would pick up the 3rd book. And somebody informed me that is indeed true. So basically I just go to all the places that Doreen goes, eat what she eats, do what she does. She's a woman in her 30s who recently moved to Kelowna after a divorce, and she has moved into her grandmother's old dilapidated house while her grandma lives in a senior residence nearby, and she keeps encountering dead bodies. In the first 2 books, she found bones in various gardens, and in both situations they were tied to cold cases from like 30 years ago. She gets close to the local law enforcement, she solves the mysteries, and I see if I can solve it before her. I hope in this one we have more of an active current day mystery. It's not something that happened so long ago, but it's recent events. It's an active investigation. I just think that would be fun. So let's embark on this journey together. Our first stop of the day is for breakfast at Pure and Simple. I've never been here before, but Rob has. And I'm just gonna ignore him during our breakfast and try to get like, I don't know, 70 pages into this so I can really get into the mystery. Here's a crime for Doreen to solve. A semi ran into this house. Now they have to fix it. So in the very first 3 chapters, Doreen has found her dead body. So she saw some people arguing in the parking lot. Basically, the book kicks off with her getting the opportunity, as she's a gardener, to build a garden for the Welcome to Kelowna sign, which is interesting because that sign's not even there anymore. But she talks about the part of town it's in, and she parks and she's checking it out, and then she wants to get a bunch of carnations. That's why it's called Corpse and the Carnations. And she is gonna put in a bid, basically, to be the person who like designs and landscapes this new Welcome to Kelowna area. And the book is talking about how she's going to a couple different gardens around town to check out the carnations that they have. And she ends up going to this community garden center. So that's where I have gone. And she finds a dead body at the gardens.
I see it.
So we need to keep an eye out. Who knows if this is the garden she was specifically talking about. There's not that many public gardens in Kelowna, but let's enjoy these ones for a minute. Look at the path. The body might be this way.
Okay, I'm gonna take the unsafest route.
Did you just trip?
Yes.
A squirrel. He saw me. Okay, but the twist is the body that she found, she knows, because she just saw that woman arguing with this guy at the other garden center that she was just visiting. So they had an argument in the parking lot, and then they drove away, and she decided to follow them because she thought something bad was happening. She followed them to this house in Rutland, and then she heard gunshots and called the police. Okay, and now by talking to other people, she has found out who those 2 people were, and their names are Josh and Celeste is this top businesswoman in town, and I swear we have already met a Josh and Celeste, so it's a good thing I have my notes from last time so I can double check. Okay, we have indeed already had a Josh, but this is a different Josh. We've also had a Jeremy and a James. So now we have Jeremy, James, and 2 Joshes in the first 3 books in this series. And we haven't had a Celeste, but we've had a Cindy, a Cicely, and a Sybil. So I think Dale just has a bad memory of the names that she's already used, or she just wasn't feeling particularly creative today. Rob cannot hold a camera straight to save his life.
My arm's falling asleep.
Carnations. No, the one next to it.
What?
I wish I knew more about flowers.
No, you don't.
I don't.
Hey.
Didn't see you there.
What book are you reading?
I'm just really busy. So Rob and I have some errands to run today, so I'm just reading in amongst all of it and trying to make time. Right now we're going to the bookstore and I'm going to pick up a couple things just for fun. But I just read this interview with the author. It's the only interview I could find with her because I just wanted to hear from Dale. And something interesting that I just learned is that she dictates her books. That's the first thing, which means she just talks out loud to like a recorder And so she's not actually writing them. And then she has like an editor who has this thing that turns it into text and then like checks things out as it's going. She also said something about how she focuses on the US market when publishing. So I guess that makes sense when we were talking about before how she has a bunch of weird like American things in her books, even though she said in this interview that her hometown is Kelowna, which I was questioning for a while. With the posting of American holidays on her socials and the shoes in the house, calling the Okanagan a glacier-fed lake, her website links to buy her books everywhere except Canadian websites. And I thought page 36 was my final straw because she called British Columbia a state. They're talking about the legalization of marijuana and how now it's legal in this state. And I understand what you're saying with like appealing to a US market, but if you're doing that, don't talk about Kelowna, don't talk about the Okanagan, don't talk about British Columbia, don't talk about Canada. Because she's mentioned all these things and placed the book so specifically here, why would you then call it a state as if people in the States can't understand that there aren't states in Canada? Anyway, the interview I checked out said she had 29 books being published in 2019, and to date, she has published 350 over 10 years.
Jesus.
So now it makes sense why things don't make a lot of sense, and why character names are repeating, because she's just talking into a tape recorder. She has no real plan. She's just like, they all start with J and S.
It is weird. It's like some subconscious stuff.
We found out that Celeste, the dead woman, ran a family planning center, and I guess we're assuming that her boyfriend, Josh, is the one who killed her. But here's the thing. She chased them down. It was those two in a house, and then she heard gunshots. And then she like immediately or soon after went to this garden center and found that woman's dead body at the garden center. And now they don't know where the boyfriend is. And now also at this point, we've learned about another cold case. There are 3 young missing boys. They all went missing around 30 years ago. It seems like their disappearances are unrelated, not connected. And the last thing that has just happened is Doreen found another thing in the river. So in all of the other books, she always finds clues in the river because her house backs onto it. This time she found a license plate. So that's obviously going to be connected to the murder that just happened or the disappearance from 30 years ago. Now I'm going to run into the bookstore.
Don't run, you're gonna fall.
No, I'm careful. All right, here's what I got from Mosaic. A tote bag, of course. I had to get this edition of Frankenstein just because I think it's perfection, and Rob even agreed with me. And then I got this that I've never heard of called The Bonus Room. The cover's great. I think it's I know it's a horror. I've read the back. I got The Black Guy Dies First, Black Horror Cinema from Fodder to Oscar. I thought this would be a good pairing with unlikable female characters that I'm currently reading for a video, so I could combine those two. And then I bought Giovanni's Room just because it was there. It was the only copy left, and I loved this earlier this year, so I bought it. And then I grabbed The September House that you'll see, or you've already seen in a video. I'm not sure what order everything is going up in. I have a couple updates on the book, some more exciting than others. In one chapter, Doreen got a phone call. Somebody was on the line and they said, "Bitch, you'll die." Then a second body was found. So we don't really know anything about it, who it is, where it was, but we know that there are 2 bodies. Doreen didn't find it, but we know now that the police, Mac, her like police informant, detective man, has informed her that there are 2 people dead. We also met this person named Finn, who's a local antique dealer. Oh, and if I want to eat like Doreen, she just had carrot cake twice. She basically stole from her nan because her nan is down the street at a nursing home, and Doreen, again, 3rd book, doesn't want to get a job, can't afford food, so she steals carrot cake essentially from her grandmother. And then later she's eating carrot cake again with a rotisserie chicken because that's all she could think to grab at the grocery store. So I think she got the word about girl dinner. Like, that's such a quintessential girl dinner. So I'm gonna have to grab carrot cake, oh poor me, by the end of the day. Carrot cake is like my favorite treat, so that was exciting to see. And basically what her and the antique dealer are doing is there are some antiques in Nan's house, and Nan left her the house and everything in it. Everything belongs to Doreen. She doesn't care about anything. And so this antique dealer is going to figure out how much everything is worth. And at this point, it's been quoted at like $50,000 worth of antiques. And I'm just trying to figure out what on earth Nan did for work, what her husband did, how they have all this money, because in my experience, like privatized senior living, which is what she's doing, is like $3,000 to $5,000 a month minimum. And if she is paying for that without even the sale of her house, like I don't understand how she's affording that. Most seniors I know have to sell their home and then they have the money to take them through retirement if they're not going to live in the house. Then we find out that the antique dealer is the grandfather of one of the boys who went missing. So there were 3 who went missing, seemingly unconnected. She said that 2 of them were in foster care, and then there was this 3rd one, and it happens to be the antique dealer's grandson. And apparently that grandson was seen getting in the truck of a local handyman, and guess what his license plate was? The same one that Doreen found in the creek. So now her theory is that the truck vanished in the creek during some flooding. And now officially the creek and the lake has been mentioned, so we're here. Oh, the water's a little high. Oh no. Okay, Doreen was talking about where the river meets the lake, which is right here. Now this isn't a path you're technically supposed to take. This is the only way to get to the sandbar. So this is the sandbar. I cut myself on the fence. Doreen's theory is that the truck got taken with the water and that it sunk here. And so she has these people coming out, like scuba people who do ocean stuff, and they're gonna come dredge the area and try to find the truck. And this is the only place that she could be talking about, and we called this Secret Beach. When I was a teenager, we would always come here because it has very not easy access. So I think I'm gonna sit here and read a good chunk of my book while Rob frolics in the sand. This really is my favorite beach to come to, so I'm super stoked that she mentioned it and that this is the part of the lake we were talking about. Okay, I've misplaced my Post-its, so I can't tab anymore. But we just found out that, or I just found out, I just figured out that we have the same last name for Josh, the guy who we think killed his girlfriend, and the handyman who is suspected of kidnapping that kid years ago. So it's got to be like his dad or his grandpa or his uncle or something. And what I figure at this point, I guess my theory, as we're a little over halfway through the book, is that he probably didn't kill his girlfriend. It's somebody else, because that's a little too easy, because she saw them fighting and she just assumed that he killed her. And so I think he probably didn't, somebody else did, but he is now on the run because he sees what happened when a family member of his got accused of something, because that family member was like run out of town or disappeared, and he doesn't want to get accused of something, and he knows that his girlfriend died. So maybe he did take her out of the house and put her in the flowers, but he's not the one who killed her. Just kidding. 2 chapters later, we found out the second body that I had completely forgotten about and didn't care about was Josh. So Josh is dead and his girlfriend's dead. So somebody killed both of them. And we met the woman who died. She now has a sister that we just met named Cicely, and it's not the same Cicely from the first book. So now we have even more repeating names. See, now it looks like we're somewhere where you can access the beach. I promise you can't. You have to go through the weird way. Okay, I don't need you to solve the mystery, but what I do need you to do is predict the other titles in the series. So last time we ranked our favorites. So they go in order: Arsenic in the Azaleas, Bones in the Begonias, Corpse in the Carnations,
Daisies in the Dormitorium.
Right, so there's 22 of them that are already out, and we haven't gotten W, X, Y, or Z.
Okay.
So we need to figure out what those are, and then we can see if we're right someday. Actually, I haven't checked the Goodreads page, and since she writes 30 books a year, maybe there have been ones announced since like 2 months ago, the last time I did this video.
Okay, so what about like Water Lilies in the West Wing?
The second word is the flower. The first word is like a weapon or an idea.
Okay.
Whispers?
Ooh, whispers. Whispers.
It's gonna sting me.
They'll just bite you.
Maybe I don't want to be stung or bitten.
That makes sense. You actually get it?
The whispers in the water lilies. What's a flower that starts with X?
There must be a hive around here somewhere. There's Zethysma, Zethyscerus, Xeranthemum, and Xerchrysum.
With an X?
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's Xeranthemum then.
I like Xeranthemum.
So X-rays in the Xeranthemum, obviously.
No xylophones in the Xeranthemum.
That's not threatening.
You don't think so? I don't know, I've heard some pretty whack.
Y is, oh my God, the wasp is on my foot.
Yarrow is the only one.
Yelling?
Yelping?
Yelping?
Or yawning. Yelling makes sense with the yelling in the Yaros.
I guess. What about Zed? Something in the zinnia. Zippers?
Zenith.
Zip ties.
Zip ties in the zinnia.
Okay, if you guys like this video, I will read Zip Ties in the Zinnia, and it'll be like reading the first and last of a series, and we'll see if her and Matt get together by the end, and we can just see how the whole series wraps up. Probably like next year, if Dale Myers keeps on this ridiculous publication schedule.
Are we seeing what they are?
Well, I don't know if there are any yet, but there might be. We already had V, right?
Yeah.
The Victim and the Violets, okay. Whispers and the Wisteria.
Oh, wisteria.
I said whisper, right?
I said water lily.
Ah,
That was
water lily
close.
would have been pretty. I like the cover. It's green and purple.
Yep.
Okay. Xed in the Xeriscape?
Whoa.
Xed like killed? I don't mind it.
I don't mind it. I just kind of feel like you didn't try hard enough, but.
Oh, and Yowls in the Yarrow.
Oh, so yeah, the only Y one, I guessed Yarrow.
Didn't you say
Yowls.
Yowl? What did, oh, you said
Yelp.
Yelp.
I said Yelp. Yell and Yelp. Yeah. Yelp and the
But
Yarrow.
we haven't gotten Zed yet. Okay, here are my questions in the last 70 pages.
Okay.
Who kidnapped Paul? That's the kid who went missing. It's probably not actually the handyman. Who killed Celeste? And who killed Josh? Because they said that Josh killed Celeste, but probably not because he was actually found in the house where the gunshots were heard. And so obviously they couldn't have both killed each other and she ended up in the flowers. So who killed Celeste? Who killed Josh? And who is in Doreen's house? Because somebody is trying to break in. Dun dun dun. But Mac's on the way and he's gonna teach her how to make breakfast. She doesn't know how to cook. And so he said he's gonna teach her how to make eggs, so.
I'm gonna use the trope of evil twin.
Oh, are we guessing already?
I am.
Who has the evil twin?
Oh, Josh. And I think that the Josh we see is actually his evil twin. He did do it. That's what I'm saying.
I think it was the sister because she just seemed a little like off, a little off.
So we're saying the sister and actual Josh are a couple? Is that what you're saying?
Okay.
And they both disliked her for some reason and they just like...
Well, Doreen's theory is that whatever the name, the person who died, I keep mixing them all up, that she had an abortion.
Okay.
Because they run this family planning center,
Yeah.
and I guess Josh was really against it.
Okay.
And didn't want to support the family business, which is like, in that case, why would he have been with this woman to begin with if she owned a family planning center
Yeah.
that focused on like whatever the person who was pregnant actually wanted to do?
So maybe it was a crime of passion and then we're gonna find out there'll be a kid and it's actually she never got the abortion. And the kid, he'll have to like adopt the kid.
This isn't a soap opera.
I don't know.
Also, he's dead.
The kid?
No, Josh.
Oh, I didn't realize Josh was dead.
I think the sister killed both of them, but I don't know why. But Doreen, she thinks Celeste was probably pregnant, got an abortion, Josh was mad, then killed her.
And then someone killed Josh.
Yeah, but like, who killed Josh? Well, Doreen still has to end up in a deadly situation because that's how all of these end, is like the person she finds out did it and then they like hunt her down and then Max shows up to save the day. Person trying to break into her house, it turns out was the janitor at her Nan's retirement facility, and he thought that he won it in a game of poker because Nan is notorious for her gambling and betting. And I do like that there's always some kind of red herring, and it usually has to do with like some random person who has nothing to do with any actual criminal activity that Doreen just like gets wrapped up with. So it turns out it was him, and he probably has nothing to do with any of the other stuff going on. And I will say, I think this is, Rob's just in the mall doing some things, doing some shopping. So I probably have a good half hour to read. It's not really fun to follow Doreen when she doesn't have a job and doesn't have money. And now she's gonna make money because she's selling all of these antiques. But it's just like, I want to see her work for her money. I want to see her find a career she's really passionate about. It's kind of like when you follow too many influencers. Every single day, all you're scrolling past is like product placements and people are just like buying stuff for a living and showing you stuff for a living. Not that that's all influencers, but it's so much. And then you just start to think like, does anybody actually do anything? And that's what it feels like to follow Doreen. Yeah, I want her to make money and have a happy life because she had this miserable divorce and her husband actually like got with their divorce lawyer. But I do want to see her earn her own money and get confidence in a real aspect of life. And cozy mysteries are often so fun, the ones that I pick up, because they do have to do with jobs. It's like you're opening a cafe, you're working for your family's ice cream shop, and I guess there is over 20 books to go, so maybe she will, but that's really what I want for her and for me. Cecily just broke into Doreen's house with a gun. I knew it. She's in a deadly situation. We still have 30 pages to go, though. Cecily was also dating Josh. So he was dating both sisters. So Cecily here is the one who is in charge of the center, and Josh and her sister were trying to shut it down. Okay, she just accused her of killing her. She said, "You've already killed 2 people. It's not like your sister's boyfriend killed her. You did. You killed her. Then you killed Josh, and you made it look like it was a murder-suicide." The woman just stared at her. "How is it that you even figured that out? It's not like anybody was around to witness." Like, why is everyone just so quick to confess to Doreen? Here's where I'm confused, is when Doreen showed up at the house, she heard gunshots. And then...
Was that horrific?
Cecily killed Celeste.
Cecily!
And Josh, the sister.
Oh, shit.
Boba?
My boba. Don't touch my boba.
A pretzel. So Celeste killed them both, and now she's threatening Doreen with a gun. How do you think she's gonna get out of this situation? I bet Max is gonna show up.
Max is gonna walk in and hit her with a 2x4 across the forehead.
No, I think I'll probably just arrest her.
Was he a cop?
So this was another one of those cases where there wasn't really a way for you to figure out the mystery, or there wasn't anything more complex to go on with the mystery besides what Doreen was finding out when she was finding it out. We met Cecily. It's one of the only characters we met in the whole book, so naturally you assume that she's the one who killed everybody, and she is. Though, I guess it didn't confirm that Celeste was pregnant, so one of her hunches turned out to be not true. I feel like it's the first time that has happened in this entire 3 books so far. The reason that she figured it out is she went back to the gardens, and there was a trash can full of like bloody papers, left all of that evidence behind, and then Doreen took the bloody stuff with her and gave it to the police. But before they could figure everything out, Cecily showed up to threaten Doreen, but she was saved. Her animals fought for her. I still think that there needs to be a book in this series where the bird gives a clue, because if you're gonna have a talking parrot, I still think there needs to be the moment where he says something or repeats something that the murderer said. Oh wait, I need to grab my carrot cake. The theme of the last book was crackers and cheese. Everywhere she went, she had crackers and cheese. And in this book, she ate carrot cake 3 different times, and carrot cake happens to be the only cake I like. This one's from the grocery store, and it was a huge slice. This bite's just for the video. I have to go eat dinner, and then I'll share this with everyone, I promise. It's pretty good. I guess she ate carrot cake and eggs because she learned how to cook an omelet, and there was a cute scene between her and Mac where he made her eggs, and then she proved that she could do it. So all I have to say is they better be together in the final book, and we're gonna read it together, I don't know, whenever it comes out. And then Doreen did solve the other mystery. The truck did indeed sink in the sandbar, which, sure, we'll just go with it. But what happened was they assumed, or they had evidence that that handyman picked up the kid in his truck, and then Doreen found out that there was a flood at that same time, and that's why she suspected that something was happening in the river. So she had all these moments where she was talking to like newspaper people, and then one where she went to the library, and if you remember last time she went to the library and she met the librarian, whatever this was her name. This time her name was Linda, but there's only 3 weeks between that book and this book, and she has not gone to the library since, because we spend every day with Doreen, and each book takes place over a 1-week period, and she went to the library and spoke to Linda as if they have spoken before. So I think once again, Dale just like does not care about character names and consistency and continuity. But like, does it matter in a cozy mystery book? So they did in fact find the truck, and both of the bodies were still in there. So this guy was just giving this kid a ride home is what's assumed, and they got washed away by the flood, and it's very sad, and she was responsible for getting them out. And then at the end of the book, and I think what's going to continue the rest of the series is it's not just her stumbling upon body parts anymore, thank goodness, because how horrifying. It's people knocking on her door, like in the last chapter, and saying, I have a cold case that I need you to help solve. Like, this is clearly where you thrive and shine. So like, my sister's been missing for 30 years. Help me find her. So I guess we could consider that Doreen's job. Is she gonna get paid for it somehow? That would be great, so she can stop going to the senior home and stealing all of her grandmother's food. Once again, this video for the third time feels very stupid, but I did indeed solve the mystery before Doreen. I got an injury. I sustained an injury from my investigation. And maybe I'll see you next year with a final part 4. Bye!